Hi everyone. In this lecture, we'll be learning about conditional statements in Python. So what are conditional statements to begin with? Well, let us think in this way. Let's say we design a remote controlled self-driven car, right? Which has only one functionality, that it keeps on moving through any direction that it has. It might take all the turns and bends depending on the obstacles provided. So let's say we have this kind of a road ahead. So this is our start point, right? And let's say this is the end point. Now, the car has to travel all the way from start to the end. How does it do so? Let's say these are the obstacles present, this letters, this arrow and stuff. So obviously it cannot move just forward. It has to take a right turn over here and go through this path, then probably take another turn and move up to here, right? So how do we design this particular thing? A very simple command, we can give a condition that if you find any blockade ahead, please take the immediate right turn. And therefore, the car, when it finds the blockade, it would take the right turn and it would move so. Now, this is the very basic of a conditional statement. Now, it might so be that the car should not, when it moves forward, it finds a blockade in the front. So I tell, if you find a blockade in the front, please take a right turn. What if the right is also blocked? Then I'll write another condition on top of the previous given condition that if your right turn is also blocked, please find the left turn. And it will find another path and so on, move to the end position. What if the left is also blocked? Then I might say that I might give 2-3 conditions and then write a last statement saying else, that is, if none of the conditions above satisfies, please stop where you are because there is no point to go. So do you understand the point? Now let's look at the syntax and let's try to rebuild this particular game. All right. So in Python, the system fully depends on indentation, and which is essentially white spaces at the very beginning of the line. Unlike the curly braces that you find in other programming languages, Python doesn't have any curly braces. So in Python, conditional statements may be of the following 3 types: if and else, or it can be only if. Only if also satisfies. Normally we put an else followed by if, so that if this particular condition is not satisfied, we go to the else part. There might another way called nested if, wherein there would be if given a condition, followed by another if, followed by another condition, and so on. And there is also nested elif. If else in Python is written as elif. So we'll see all of them as we move to the lab session. All right. Now, an if statement in Python is written using the if keyword. Elif is an abbreviation for else. That is, if the if condition is not satisfied, we can give another condition by writing simply the keyword elif. Else, this is the last keyword that we would want to use if none of the conditions above is satisfied. All right. Now let's move to the lab session. All right. So let's look at this very particular problem. It says x equals to 40. So we have assigned a variable x containing the value 40. Now if x is greater than 10, this is the if keyword followed by the condition, right? So essentially, let me grab the pen. So essentially, this is our keyword. This right here is our keyword. And this particular thing is the condition. So if x greater than 10 followed by a colon, we give some indentation, which in Jupyter Notebook, if you press enter, it automatically takes the particular indentation. Print greater than 10. Else print less than 10. So now since x is 40, which is greater than 10, we get the print to be greater than 10. All right. Now the same thing can be written in a broader sense by using nested if. So here what I have done is I've taken x to be 40 as it is. Then I've taken an if statement as was shown in the previous program. So if x greater than 10, print greater than 10. If x greater than 20, note that this if is not another condition given. This is a nested if, that is if under if. So first the program will try to understand if x is greater than 10 or not. And if this condition satisfies, this would be printed. Then it would move to the next condition. So if x greater than 20, print greater than 20. Again, if this satisfies, this would be printed. After that, it would come to this particular condition over here. That is, if x is greater than 30, print greater than 30. Else, print less than 10. So now, let's understand through the program. It was said that x equals to 40. So what happened? If x greater than 10, yes, x is greater than 10. So 10 has been printed over here. Then it comes to the next particular condition, which says if x is greater than 20, yes, x is 40, which is greater than 20. Therefore, print greater than 20. That is also printed. Then it comes to the next condition, that is, if x is greater than 30, then print greater than 30. That has been printed as well. Now it says else, that is, if none of this condition above, rather if this particular condition over here was not satisfied, then it would print x is less than 10. So we know that x is 40, it is greater than 10, 20 and 30. What if I wanted to change the code? Let's say, what if I give a condition over here as if x is greater than 10, print greater than 10. And the else condition, let's say, what if I write over here, if x is less than 20, print lesser than 20. Now tell me one thing. Is x greater than 10? Yes. So it should print greater than 10. Is x now less than 20? No. X is greater than 20. Therefore, the condition would end over here because x is no longer lesser than 20. Now for the next condition given, that x is greater than 30, which although is true, would not be printed because once the pointer comes over here, and finds this particular condition to be false, it ends. It cannot really go to the next line. So let's see what happens. Yes, as expected, it gives me x is greater than 10. Now, what if I wanted to print if x is greater than 30, print greater than 30? So in that case, I shouldn't have used a nested if. I should have used an elif instead. So elif x greater than 30, print greater than 30. So now it has still not printed. Can you tell me why? Because in conditions, elif is only accessed once this if condition. So what I'm trying to say over here is the first priority is given to if, followed by elif. If none of the two satisfies, then the pointer moves to else. Now, since over here x greater than 10 has been already satisfied, right? It does not really move to elif position. It might go until the chain of the ifs, that is the nested ifs, but it won't ever come to the elif position or the else position. Now, to come to the elif position, this if condition should not be satisfied. So let me do that as well. So let's say if x is less than 10, which is not true because x is greater than 10. So in that case, we get the print to be greater than 30 because this if condition has been falsified. Therefore, it directly moves to the elif condition where it says if x is greater than 30, which in a way is true, and therefore it prints greater than 30. Now, what if I wanted to access the else position? What I need to do is I need to put a false comment over here as well. Now, let's see, it says less than 10. Now, it is technically wrong. X is not less than 10. But since the program has been designed such a way that if condition has not been satisfied, neither has the elif condition been satisfied. Therefore, it moves to the else condition, which is less than 10, and that's what being printed. So I hope you understand how the conditional statements work. Now let's look to the next program. Here it says that if x equals to 40, x equals to 40, I have assigned x to be 40. If x greater than 10, print greater than 10. Elif x greater than 20, print greater than 20. Elif x greater than 30, print greater than 30. Else, print less than 10. So any guesses what would be printed? Obviously, the first line would be printed. That is, x is greater than 10. Because once the if condition has been accessed, I mean, it's true, it finds the if condition to be true, it doesn't go to the elif or the else conditions, and it prints the first condition, that is greater than 10. So I hope this particular topic is clear to you guys. Now let's understand the first problem that I was sharing at the very beginning. So what if I wanted to design a car that moves from the start position to the end position? So for the very basic program, I would write move from start to end. I'm just saying the pseudo program, right? This would be the very easy thing to do. Now, what if we find a blockade? This is a blockade. What I would say is, please move from start to end. Then I'll give a condition if you find any blockade ahead. Maybe take a right turn. So now what it would do is, it moves till the blockade, then takes a right turn, and continue. And then it continues to the end part. What if there is a blockade in the right as well? Now, if initially there was a blockade at the right as well, so what I'm trying to say is, from start to end, here it comes across this block. And what if there was a block at the right turn as well? So it cannot take the right turn. So in that case, what I'll also include is, it would be a nested if, saying if blockade towards right then take left and continue. So it moves forward, finds a blockade on the forward or towards the front, tries to move to the right, where it also finds a blockade, and then it moves to the nested if condition. So it finds a blockade to the right, it takes a left, and then moves to the end. What if there was a blockade at the left as well? I guess then nothing was to be done. I would probably include another nested if, saying if blockade towards your left as well, then stop or return back. So that could be done. Now, coming to this particular case, if when we move forward, there is some space to move towards the right, it moves to the right, and then let's say it finds a block. Then what would we do? Here we'll be using an elif statement. So if blockade ahead, take a right and continue. Or rather, we can also use an if statement. Everything works over here. So if blockade towards your right, or you know what, even we do not need this particular statement over here. Since the car was moving forward, it found a blockade towards its front, it takes a right, and now this direction becomes its front. And now it finds a block towards its front. Therefore, what it would do is, it would take another right, which is this direction. Suppose after going for some time, it finds a block over here as well. This would be its front. It would take a right turn. And this would be continued. So this is the magic of conditional statements, which is pretty much the basic for creating games or an automated program. With the introduction of loops, you would understand how loops and conditional statements together help in creating the entire program. So that's all for today, guys. Hope to see you in the next one.